I call upon the spirit of the owl, messenger of wisdom. Welcome to the Temple of the Owl. Merry meet, seekers of knowledge, for I am Matzow, your guide through the mystical realms. I wish your day be enchanted and blessed. In this episode, we will be discussing Zak Bagans Haunted Museum in downtown Las Vegas, here within the heart of the Temple of the Owl, hidden deep in the forests of Northern California. Here, amidst the whispers of ancient trees, we embark on a journey through the mystic realms of magic and spirituality. As we traverse these enchanted paths, know that our perspective is from that of the modern witch. As always, the musings shared within these hollowed walls are but seeds of thought, offerings to inspire the magic that dwells within you. Witchcraft, you see, is a personal odyssey, a sacred dance between practitioner and the unseen forces that shape our reality. So take this information and do what you will with it. Special thank you for those people listening on Spotify and on YouTube, and a special thank you for those listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. Venture forth to troubledminds.org, where an invitation awaits you to join in the rich conversations led by the mysterious Michael Strange. Explore troubledminds.org/friends to connect with the kindred souls and extend your support to the enchanting collaborators. Follow the wise Rohan of the Exiled Minds podcast. And I want to give a heartfelt appreciation to those gentlemen who inspire and produce the show. As the cauldron of wisdom bubbles, let us stir the brew with the MOD, or the message of the day. It's an incantation to set the tone for our mystical discourse. And today's quote is, "Exploring the paranormal is not for the faint of heart, but the reward of discovering the truth is priceless." And that is from Zak Bagans. And I feel that because it's hard to do this job and be on the front lines of this ghost hunting on the paranormal. But if you have one personal or paranormal experience, you don't need anyone else, like from their point of view. Once you experience it, it doesn't matter what other people think. If it's real or not, it is real to you. And your experiences are yours, and yours only. So, believe in what you wish. Now, Zak Bagans has been a household name with me, and he's one of my favorite paranormal investigators. But I also believe that a lot of the stuff they show on his show is exaggerated to kind of add for a good story, for entertainment value. Now, I've been following Zak on his adventures since the beginning, and I love how he uses technology and experience to hunt ghosts and capture the evidence that enforces the facts to me that ghosts are real. And I was really interested when he started this museum. So let's get into it, shall we? Zak Bagans Haunted Museum is located in a historic mansion in downtown Las Vegas, and its history is as intriguing as the paranormal artifacts it houses. The museum is situated in a mansion built in 1938, known as the Wingert Mansion. The mansion has a distinctive and somewhat ominous appearance, fitting for a location dedicated to the paranormal. The mansion was originally owned by Cyril S. Wingert, a predominant businessman in Las Vegas. The Wingert family lived in the mansion for several decades, and it was reported to have been a witness to various historical events in Las Vegas. Now, the house is kind of weird because it was built by a man and his family of 4, but it has over 30 rooms, and it goes up and down stories, and it kind of reminds me of how the Winchester Mystery House was built. Like, why would a guy with his wife and 2 kids build a house with 30 rooms? It doesn't make sense. So Zak Bagans, a well-known paranormal investigator and the host of Ghost Adventures, purchased the mansion with the intent of turning it into a museum. Bagans acquired the property in 2015 and embarked on extensive renovations to create a suitable environment for his collection of haunted and cursed objects. The Haunted Museum officially opened its doors to the public in October 2017. Since then, it has gained a reputation as a must-visit destination for those interested in the supernatural and paranormal activities. Now, I had the pleasure of going on a nighttime tour of the museum in early 2022, and my wife and I had a very pleasurable experience. Now, there are some rooms that are very tight and can be claustrophobic, and there's traversing of stairs and levels in an old mansion, so there is some tripping hazards, but nothing really too bad. I do recommend get the VIP of the tour, or what they call it the RIP. I'm going to talk about each room and tell my experiences along the way. The museum features a vast and diverse collection of items that are believed to be cursed or haunted. Each object in the collection is said to have a unique and often dark history. Everyone that worked there was really nice and cordial. I asked them questions, and they answered respectfully. Our tour guides never broke character, and they were very knowledgeable about everything in the museum. There are many oddities and trinkets to look at, and so sometimes some rooms were overwhelming because I wanted to take it all in. Our tour guide took us to each room of the haunted house, and each room is its own exhibit. Some of the exhibits include a Western room with items and weapons from famous people in the Wild West, such as Wild Bill Cody and Jesse James. One of the rooms is full of items and possessions from serial killers, including Charles Manson and Jeffrey Dahmer. There is an exhibit dedicated to the movie Poltergeist with items and costumes from the people who worked on the film. There is a room dedicated to Dr. Kevorkian, and they have his van on display in the museum. And I learned a lot about that story that I didn't know, and I felt very sad in that room. Another cool exhibit was the Devil's Rocking Chair. It is a room where there's a rocking chair on display that supposedly there was an exorcism performed on a man there by Ed Warren. And Ed Warren was a famous ghost hunter and demonologist, and one of my favorites because he is kind of one that got me into talking about the paranormal and made me think about how these stories could be real. He is a hero to the paranormal community, in my opinion. The first room I felt the most presence was in the basement. Now, the story goes that the basement was the location where devil-worshipping rituals took place. After the Wingert family had moved out of the house, it sat abandoned. devil worshippers broke in and practiced dark magic in the basement. And so when me and my wife went down in the basement, I got really scared, like I was being watched from someone who wasn't there. And when I got to the bottom, I was shocked to find that the pentagram was still there on the ground, and there was blood splatter and animal sacrifice and burned smudges left over from the rituals there. Well, we got scared and we ran back up the stairs. Another exhibit that had me shaking was the room with Peggy the doll. As you guys might know, I'm terrified of haunted dolls. Now, Peggy the doll is a haunted doll that supposedly can give people heart attacks minutes after they look into the doll's eyes. I walked into the room and it was like I was looking at another person instead of a doll. The doll was behind the glass, and there was a spirit box in the room that was constantly running voice recorder EVPs. And there's this little girl's voice was trying to communicate with us. Now, what do I believe? Maybe this could be a recording, I thought. But it was cool how they had the spirit box running in most of the big rooms. I took the challenge and stared into the doll's eyes. I cannot describe this, but her eyes were like looking at a real human eye. And it was like I was staring into a soul behind it. I told Peggy thank you and goodbye and bowed before I left the room. The next scariest room was the Dybbuk Box room. This is one of the most famous room. It has these Dybbuk boxes. They're from Jewish mysticism, and they believe that they can trap these spirits in these old wine boxes. The Dybbuk Box at Zak Bagans Haunted Museum is known for destroying several people's lives, and even blamed for murders. The air is thick and dense in the room. The energy is swirling and heavy. The more I stayed in the room, the more nauseous I became. The first thing that I noticed about the box was that it was very mysterious and it looked ancient. I noticed a ring of sage was rotted and moldy, which I have never seen that before. And I asked the tour guide how old the sage was, and they said that they replaced the sage regularly. And I always thought that was kind of weird because of the years I've worked with sage, I've never seen rotted sage before. And the next thing I noticed was the barrier, the fence surrounding the box on the table. It was high and made of black wood and clear glass. Inside the glass was Hebrew scripture and prayers written in gold. The tour guide told us, I asked what was up with this wall. And the tour guide told us that a few nights before we were there was a man and he fainted. He fell over in the Dybbuk Box room. And when he fell, his partner tried to catch him and broke her leg. And the paramedics had to traverse the maze of the museum to get there to help. And I think that was kind of funny, imagining the paramedics try to go through this haunted house. Now, Zak thought that after Zak heard about this, he thought that the Dybbuk inside the box was deliberately trying to get people to pass out in the room and fall over and knock over the Dybbuk box, releasing the trapped spirit inside. So he built this new wall as an extra layer of protection. Now, I believe the Dybbuk Box is real, just based on the feelings that I had in that room. And I feel that there is something like a spirit trapped inside that box. Another room that scared me was the Demon House Stairs exhibit. Now, the Demon House was a house that Zak bought in Gary, Indiana. And it was so haunted that no one could live there. They found satanic items in the dirt under the basement stairs linked to the hauntings. Zak bought the house to investigate it, but he was so scared by the demon inside that he tore the house down so that no one else could live there. He brought the stairs and the dirt and the artifacts to the museum and rebuilt them on display, and the sight of those stairs made me sick to my stomach and made me feel dizzy, and I wanted to leave the room, but I wanted to experience it and see it. It was just really weird how whatever it is, was it the artifacts or under the stairs or the dirt itself that caused these hauntings. It was just a pretty intense experience to see these stairs. Now, my favorite room in the house was the celebrity room. And there's many items and possessions and clothes that belong to famous dead celebrities, such as Michael Jackson, Shannon Tate, and Harold Ramis. He's the guy that played Egon in the Ghostbusters. Now, my favorite part of the room was where they had this section and it had like Patrick Swayze's costumes. And it had all of his costumes from his movies. And there was a case with items, these religious artifacts, items of the magician. There was a beautiful wand, a chalice, then occult books. And some of these books that were written, like a Book of Shadows, written by Patrick. And it made me realize that Patrick Swayze was a magician. And that makes a lot of sense when you go back and watch him in his movies and see how good his acting was and how he carried himself and believed in himself that he could do this. He used magic. There are many more stories and amazing experiences I had there, and many more oddities and haunted objects to explore. Some of these, one of the ones I wanted to talk about was this doll they had there in this small room. They had a doll that looked like an actual little person, and it was kind of weird. Some of the things I was talking to the tour guides about, and talking about the connections to, like, have they seen any ghosts, and asking them, have they seen any paranormal experiences? And yeah, a lot of them have. I believe that, the museum is a big place. And in conclusion, Zak Bagans Haunted Museum, it was a magical experience. It was made me believe that it's either haunted either by spirits that were already there, or from the cursed objects that he collected in the house, and the sheer amount of them in one place. Like, having all these cursed objects in one spot, does it open like portals, or does it gain some sort of energy to make it more haunted? I wonder. I plan on going back and having a whole new experience in the future. And I highly recommend that if you are in Las Vegas, that you visit this haunted museum. Oh, I am Matt's Owl. Thank you for journeying with me on the Temple of the Owl. And thank you for listening. on the frequencies of the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Blessed be.
For centuries.